Hello, everyone. I am excited to greet you for this next episode of the podcast Experience Consciousness. This will be a little bit of a different podcast as we have received a few requests about Elke and her journey. I have gotten to know Elke over the years, and I know exactly that she absolutely loves to talk about herself. Not. She dislikes to talk about herself, but I nonetheless will try to get her to share as much as possible. So come on in, Elke.
Hello, beautiful Utah and beautiful, well, everyone that is here um, to listen to my story. And I absolutely don't know what to talk about. So, Utah, what, well, what do you want to know?
Yeah, the questions have been, when did you start to realize that you are different? When did you become conscious about feeling differently, acting differently, and not fitting into the mainstream?
Well, so I don't remember much of my very early years of as a child. So just a few bits and pieces. So when I started to become conscious, well, first of all, the first one was when I had to learn or relearn to put on my shoes and bind them and learning to ride a bicycle. I already knew that well, I should be able to do that because I had been doing this before. And also when I watched others, right? I remember one day in in Germany, it's a different school system. I think it would be primary school in the US or Canada or something. And standing there when there was a break and children, so the children were basically bullying each other and having fights, whatever, right? And I was always hearing the grown ups to that said, "Oh, children are so pure, they are so gentle, they always, well, they have such a pure heart." And then I was watching them on in school and really imitating their parents and what they have been doing. And I was standing there and thinking, well, where I'm coming from, uh, we do that, or this is totally different. So I just have been watching my surroundings and thought, well, this is interesting, right? It didn't, a lot didn't make sense to me. And I was very excited to be on the planet, right? And I definitely, well, there was so much love, right? And I needed that love. So I was very, that was the most important thing for me in life, right? All this fighting, all this, I don't know, uh, that wasn't important. It didn't make sense, right? I wanted to love and be loved and really connect from the heart with others. And one thing, I was watching others and everyone, I find it so hilarious, right? So they were watching their heroes, sports heroes, whatever the case may be. And there was, well, I want to be like this person, or I want to be this person. And I thought, well, I just want to be myself, right? So yeah, that's the early impressions. At that time, I didn't realize and know that others were maybe feeling thinking differently. And one thing for me in hindsight was, from a very early age, I knew that I was much more than my body and the mind. So at that time, I perceived myself, and I knew that was myself, to be outside of the body, to be this being that always stays the same, that is perfect within itself, and that could not and would not be harmed. So even if I was down there crying and whatever the case might have been, desperate, because, well, you're going through life, you're growing up, there's others, you still try to fit in, right? Because, well, otherwise you're alone all the time. But I still knew everything is fine, right? Who I am is still having fun, is enjoying it, right? So that was a very interesting experience, or just the knowingness. Well, it might be that I'm going through this experience, but ultimately it doesn't matter. So that it just is an experience. So of course the mind had to grow. That's really when you're growing up. The mind has to learn how to function on in a body, on a planet. It has to grow, to expand, and of course, this, with the years, this opens up, right? And you realize more and more uh, what's really going on, or who you really are. And of course, on the outside, everyone else acts in a way that feels completely foreign to you, and completely, well, so much didn't make sense. But at the same time, well, you go to school. Well, I was always an outsider there, right? I perceived myself as an outsider because I was not interested in talking about that stuff they were talking about. Of course, I was interested in sports, in exercising as a whole, and that's where I was engaging with others, and where I was having fun with others, playing sports, playing games that involved exercising, whatever. And that was fun because there wasn't very much talk. And as say, I always loved to work my body out, to feel my body, to bring it to a level where you try out how far can I go, right? And to really, well, be in the body and use it to, not its utmost, but to a level where you know you accomplish something, you are going to where the body, well, you are finding out where the body can go. And but in school, well, I was very shy. That's what they called me. I didn't talk a lot. I loved watching others. I loved watching what's going on. And then it started that they tried to change me, right? And that's where I started to shut down. And that's when I became an outsider, uh, because, well, I went more and more into my head, and then it became even more difficult to connect with others, because you are told, well, you cannot say that, you have to, whatever, you have to do this and say that, you cannot say this. And then I sat there with myself and thinking, well, what am I going to talk to them? So can I say this, or what would I tell them? And then I rather did not say anything, because obviously it was not okay to speak from the heart, to speak your true nature. You had to somehow fit into the other's comfort zone and be something that you are not. And I was not ready or willing to do that. Well, and that's when and how. And I only realized it later that others were differently, because usually when you grow up, when you are with you, you think others are similar. So I've been realizing that at a later time. But of course, I felt as an outsider, I felt different. And I felt like I didn't belong. Because this being, I mean, a herd animal and having to run behind everyone, even if it didn't make sense, well, it didn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, I'm not doing it. So that's
But
the short or the long of it.
but
You
did you never miss the feeling to be understood, to be accepted from others?
Of course. I mean, that's really, yeah. So there was this, for me, yes, it was a fight. I went into resistance, right? They wanted to change me. And the thing is, when they in school, it's changing now, but at that time they perceived everyone learns the same, thinks the same, and I just, they were talking and it was so boring. I didn't, so I had to do it by myself on my own and then get to the result in my way. And during whatever was going on, I had a hard time listening. I probably would have been labeled nowadays, would be labeled as ADHD, ADHS, or whatever the labels are, and whatever. I just was myself, and I was and am very unique, just as everyone is. And the problem is the system tries to put everyone into the same box, into the same folder, and wants to it tries to make everyone the same. And my problem was I was resisting it, which in myself, and as I say, I have learned that I made it worse for myself. Now, with what I know now, I would of course be acting differently. I would still be an outsider, because what the mainstream perceives as important for me is not important. And to be accepted, that is relative. For me, it's important to connect from the heart with others. For me, it's important to know who they are, what makes them tick, and not what the latest and greatest fashion tip is, or whatever, what they perceive to be important. No, I want to know who they are, what makes their heart sing. I want to know more about themselves, because I am with myself 24/7. So I know myself. And that's why I love to connect from the heart, and nobody was doing that. So here I was sitting and really within myself, loving everyone, but not understanding them, not understanding. So I was watching movies, and even my mom, right? She was right in the mainstream and wanted to have all that stuff that seemed to be so important. And of course, my surroundings, everyone was sick. My dad got sick when I was 4 or something. He had a brain tumor, and then he was disabled. My grandma, she was caring for me when I was very young, because my mom was working, and she had breast cancer. And I was growing up with a lot of sickness and people having disease. And of course, I became a hypochondriac, because I thought when there was a pimple or whatever, oh my God, I'm dying, right? Because there was so much around me. And then for a child, it's very hard to process that. And you, of course, take it in and make it your own, because you don't know better. And the others don't know better either. They think it happens to them. They can do nothing about it, and whatever. And it's really, and really they are into, well, for my mom, doctors were like gods, or yeah. So basically the better dressed you are, the more money you have, the more desirable you are, or that is for you or for her to be in, right? And for me, I didn't want to be famous. I didn't want to be rich in a sense, because I looked at rich people and I saw what was truly going on. Because as everyone around them was envious, they pretended to love them, to be their friends, but it was different. And so many go into alcohol or drugs. And I was watching that, and why would I want that? And then have my mom like this, and it was a very interesting journey.
Okay. Do you have an explanation why most of the people are so stuck in what they are doing, what they are thinking, and are not realizing that it exists a more lovely way to live, maybe an easier way to live?
Oh, a much more simple way. And it's not always easy, or easy is relative. It's a judgment. It's polarization. It's about, see, as I have said. So I don't know why, but I remember. So my mom was very overbearing. She wanted me to basically be and do what she was not able to do. So basically be a second mom. So, and of course, well, I wanted to be me, so I'm not going to do that, right? And I must have, of course, when I was young, but I cannot recall that, I must have, as children do, right? You blurt out what your heart, what you feel, and you tell that, and then this is, well, you cannot say that, you have to be like this, you have, of course, I was, you could call, I was a tomboy at that time. I had no interest whatsoever in in dolls, or playing whatever girls do. I was interested in cars. I was interested in making myself dirty and playing soccer and all the boy stuff, right? And my mom wanted to have a girly girl, so that was very funny. So and there was this clash of her wanting me to be a certain way and me, well, wanting to be myself. And but still, I remember to really try to focus myself into the brain, into the mind. So basically process everything with the mind. And that's when well, right now, okay, I'm talking to you from the heart. The mind is used as a translator of myself to you with words. So of course, a lot is happening. Usually this is about myself. So this is why it's different now. Is happening on an energetic level. Words are the least important. So, but still, I'm translating my heart, my essence, my presence, who I am, with the mind right now to you. So you can feel me and you can hear the words, because you still need the words. But you also can feel who I am. And that's what's called authenticity. I am myself. I'm not gonna pretend to be someone else. But at that time, because of course mom is God in a sense, and you try to do your best. Well, she tells you you have to think like that, be like that, talk like that. And in Germany, in that corner of Germany where I grew up, it was very, it's even denser, or well, people are just looking at what others are doing and how they behave, and if not, the talk is going around, and you are basically the cast out. Well, yeah, so that's what happened to me anyways. But I was trying to get myself into the mind, and that's really where I became quiet. It's not about me. So I'm quiet anyways, but I became even quieter because my mind was constantly searching for the right words and didn't find them. And well, and if I wanted to share something, I might have started to stutter, to not find the right words. So I wasn't a very pleasant partner to talk with anyways, if I tried to make conversation. If I was allowed to be myself, that's a different story. Then I was coming from the heart. But in school and when you are in society, usually you are forced into the mind, and that's what most people do. So, and they make the mind the driver. So they put it on the driver's seat, and starting to perceive they are the mind. They take on all that stuff. They look outside and look at what others do, how they behave, what is happening to them, and then accordingly they act and react. So they really focus on their mind, and they, as their presence, are going into hiding. It's literally the lights are on, but nobody is home, because the mind is in charge, and the mind can only act and react and create on what it knows and has already experienced. The mind can not create something new. So someone that creates something that hasn't been there is not creating it from the mind, they create it from the heart. So like genius like Einstein, he created from his connection to his higher self, not because he had such a big brain. And it has been proven that his brain was just the same as anybody else's. So yes, they are completely buying into what's told to them, and more lose the connection to themselves, to the true being that they are. And that makes it much more difficult. And that's where they completely step out of alignment with themselves. I hope this somehow answers your question, Jutta.
Yes, thank you so far. But now we come to the next question. How and why did you go to Canada? And ultimately, how did you end up doing what you are doing now?
Well, okay, that's a quite long story. I'm that old. So, yeah. So, yeah. So well, if you want to know that, and it obviously makes sense, because of course you want to know why she is telling me what she is telling, and why should I listen to her or not? It's your decision, right? So the thing is, I mean, let's continue with when school was done, and I really, as I say, I was an outsider there. The last 2 years I only got by, and I finally passed, even though I wasn't there half of the time. And I don't go into details how I managed that. So, and then of course, there was the question, what are you gonna do? And I was looking at going to university, and I thought, well, I'm gonna spend 4, 5 or more years there doing whatever I'm doing that is boring, and then I still don't know anything that is practical for life. So, well, I thought, okay, and I don't really know with my grades what to do. So I'm working, doing jobs for a year, and then decide And I did that, worked for a year, did some jobs, and then I decided I still didn't know what I want to do because it all sounded and felt so boring. And well, one decision was I wanted to be self-employed at one point in my life as soon as possible. So, but still, so then I had a friend in university. She was studying something that I, with my grades, would get in, and I did that. And then I studied, well, pubology, which meant I never really attended any class. And I ended up, well, drinking quite a lot because still nothing did really make sense and didn't call to me, right? And I was going out with friends of my friend and whatever, and they ended up going to make some practice time. And one other guy, he didn't have enough courses, so we were left. And at one point, I really was at a point I was feeling, well, if I continue doing that, I will go into a place that is not complementary. So, meaning I will end up being someone that lives on the street, drinks, is an alcoholic, whatever, right? Drugs didn't really, well, I reacted very badly to them. So I decided, okay, I'm doing something creative, and I decided to learn some trade. And he did the same. And when I was finished, really, then I wanted to do something for my own. But I also knew I wanted to go to Canada. I had never had been in Canada, and I didn't know the country. I just knew I wanted to go there, right, and live there for whatever reason. And at one point, I ended up having a business with my then partner, and I ended up working 16, 18 hours a day, having 2 or 3 businesses, being responsible for everything. And there came a point where I felt, okay, the body was starting to get sick. This is not working. And I said, well, I cannot do this anymore. We got to do something. So we sold the business and went to Canada with my beloved dog. And when we arrived there, we wanted to do some cottage rental, build the stuff. So we ended up doing lots and lots and lots of things. And I ended up having to make money and did some computer work and really looking into doing things like that. My beloved dog became sick with cancer, and I knew within myself that I could, we both, she and I, could heal. So I looked into alternative treatments and I found drive frequencies. And at that time, not like I'm doing now with my recordings, using frequencies and energy work uh, through sound. This was with 2 diodes, copper diodes, and I had to put it on her, and then it regressed. So, and well, it was gone. And that's where I realized, hey, frequencies heal. And a few years later, my beloved dog died. And this was really a point, and that was very scary to me because this was such an agony for me. And this was literally a point where I had decided to leave the planet, interestingly enough. So we all have points where we are asked, are you wanting to continue? So, and this was, okay, we have reached a certain point, and it looks like that we are not going to get very far, right? So, and I could have just said, okay, I'm done. And literally, I knew that the body would have dropped and I would have left the planet. And for the ego, this was very, very scary. So, and I became very, very sensitive. I couldn't even watch Friends, which I was watching with my partner at that time. I couldn't even watch that anymore because the energy was so intense. So this was me being wide open, very sensitive, and knowing if I don't reaffirm to myself that I want to stay on the planet, the body is going to drop dead, right? Quite an interesting time. And well, so at the same time, I wanted to know, because I wanted to know where my beloved Kimba went, right? So I looked into what happened when you die. And at the same time, I was still conscious that I am much more than the body and the mind, right? That was still there. But due to all the work that had to be done and stuff with my partner, that had gone to the background, it was still there. So I started to look into energy, consciousness, and really starting to find out more about myself. And then connecting with myself and what is really important, right? Increasing my frequency, and finally ending up to realize that, well, I don't want to keep myself outside of myself. I want to integrate myself, more and more of myself. So really getting into energy work, getting into frequencies, that's where I started the recordings, and finding out more about the universe, about consciousness, and well, asking myself, my higher levels, my entourage, to show me more. I want to know more. I want to know who I am. I want to know what I want. And really going through this process of letting go what is not me, welcoming in myself, becoming myself, letting go of the ego, dissolving the ego, becoming more of myself again. I always had the overview, right? I could look at someone and really know what would be more beneficial for them. But I knew I had to go through the process. I'm not doing this or have doing this to be able to assist you, because I have made a commitment to myself that I want nothing but love within my consciousness, meaning I want nothing else than myself within myself. So no belief systems, no judgment, no outside energy which I have taken on as myself, because you truly cannot take on another's energy. You buy into it and then you make it your own. That's how when it becomes yours, but it's still foreign because it has nothing to do with you. So bringing myself in and becoming myself, and at the same time knowing I'm doing this, of course, for myself, but I'm also doing this so I will be able to assist you. If you decide for yourself, I'm gonna commit to myself, I want to be or know more about myself, and I want to let go of everything that has nothing to do with me and is not about me, and to really enjoy myself, be the love that I am, be the joy that I am, and looking at everyone and knowing that they are love as well, even if they don't know it yet, even if they perceive themselves to be someone else. They still have their entourage, they still have their higher levels, they still are creator consciousness incarnate, they still are love. And they, for themselves, are trying so hard to wake up to themselves and let go of what is not themselves. It's literally everyone on this planet is trying so hard to go home. And home literally is nowhere outside of you. It is already there. So it kind of is outside of you. It's still within your energy field. So, but we are bringing home here to ourselves, because the beloved that you think you are missing is your beloved creator consciousness. The love that you are, the beauty that you are, the magnificence, the purity, the eternity, your eternal being that you already are. So would love to come in with you to this experience, merging with you, with that part that's already in the body. You still are your higher levels, you are still connected. What is keeping you from realizing who you are is the mind, is the ego. All those layers, all those veils that have been created that make you believe that you are alone. You are never alone. There's always an entourage around you, your higher levels that embrace you, that love you, that want no more that you feel loved, that you feel embraced. They want that want for you to come home, to bring home to you. To again feel the love that you are, the beauty that you are, the healthy whole and completeness that you are within yourself and through yourself and as yourself. And this is really my journey, bringing home to me and letting go of everything that is not me. So dropping emotions, it is a beautiful journey. And at the end, what is waiting for you is you. No ups and downs being looking on the outside and feeling a certain way about the outside. Because you know within yourself and through yourself and as yourself, you are healthy, whole, and complete. The only thing you truly need is yourself, your higher levels, the whole universe, the beauty, the consciousness that you are. And then you can truly play with others, connect with others, love them, no matter what, no matter where they are on their journey, no matter who they believe themselves to be, they still are seeking and searching for their way home. And they're looking at you. The more you embody your presence, the love that you are, the more you emanate that, the more you enable their higher levels to come in and come through. You don't even have to say a word. You just have to be yourself and not let go of everything that you are not. So my journey has been what you could call the journey of a trailblazer, right? Whatever you want to call it. I'm just actually here to assist you because I have walked the walk. I have been through, well, let's say a lot. In this lifetime, it has been like at least 100. That's how many times it has felt like I have been dying. And what has really died is the ego. So I am here to walk side by side with you because I have walked the walk and I'm still walking it. Although, as I say, most of the ego is already gone. And why I'm on the road with this camper van is to find if there are still any hidden spaces and places within me that are still not filled with me. Because otherwise, if I would stay in one place and do the same things, not going out and really challenging my ego, not myself. I'm having fun with everything, and so do you. The ego has the problems, not you. So the question is, which I have been, and everyone has to answer that for themselves. And I have answered it with yes. And I have walked through the door. Are you ready to be and become the love that you are? Well, Jutta, I could have gone a lot more into detail, but it doesn't really matter. So this is the gist of it. And that's really for myself. That's all that needs to be shared about me. Because as Elke, I'm not important. I am me, but I am me as myself, as my higher level. So the little I is truly not important. My journey is and was that of being and becoming myself. And this journey will never end because consciousness is always growing, it's always expanding, it always finds new ways to find out more about itself. And that's what I'm doing. And it's a lot of fun and it's an adventure. And looking forward to see you join me and having so much fun, connecting from the heart, being the love that we are.
I know that this wasn't your most loved podcast. So thank you very much for sharing parts of your life and feelings with us. I want to say bye for now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, to all, see you soon.
Thank you all so much. Thank you for being here, for being you, and walking side by side with me. I love you all. Thank you so much.